Welcome back to episode number 76 of our Oxygen Not Included All Achievement Run. Before we get started changing up some stuff in the base, I do want to address a couple of things. The first being, there are a lot of people watching that are not currently subscribed, so if it's not too much to ask, please hit the like and the subscribe button. I don't say that very often because I feel like the splash that comes up on the screen is enough most of the time, but I would really appreciate it if we could continue to grow the community. I want more and more people that have never played before to ask questions and get the help that they need, and the easiest way for us to reach out to other players is by growing the community. So that's where my mind is set on. I want to continue that. And that is the first thing that I wanted to mention. The second one is we're going to continue working on these achievements one at a time, but this episode we're going to slow it down just a smidge. I want to go over why we have some things in the base the way we do and where we are going to take it in the future before we start tackling the other achievements. So to get started, I want to start by looking at some of the changes that we are going to make, and I want to cool this area down more than it already is. Because this is in the cold area, we're going to change this up from gold amalgam, and we're going to have the hydrogen creep out of this area and go through our icebox chamber and back up into this section up here. That way it can cool the inside gas pipes, furthering our temperature decrease within the base, right? So that's just kind of the overall goal, and I would like to try and make it a little bit more streamlined in regards to cooling the base. So we're going to go back in here and we're going to change the radiant liquid pipe in here on the top row only, right? And then we're also going to add, I think, a few more regular gas pipe, not regular, we're going to do radiant gas pipes with steel as well, and those are going to go all the way across, right? So I wanted to mention using steel because in one of the comments we have a member of our community that has provided a lot of insight in regards to which metal can be used best for the transfer of the heat, and steel is our most readily available on this one, so we are going to use that so we can transfer the heat from the pipes from the liquid pipes to the gas pipes and into the icebox rather efficiently for the hydrogen specifically. Okay, so that's where we're going to start with this part of the cooling. The other thing that I wanted to start, we're going to try something out. What I want to do is I want to create what is called a quick flash heat. I'm going to call this. I'm going to flash heat the crude oil, and we are going to see if we can use the magma down here to our advantage. Okay, so we're going to go all the way down here. And then we're going to break this open like so. Actually, we're not going to break open all of that. We just need a little bit. And what I want to do is I want to try and turn some of the material we have in this in this reservoir, the crude oil. I want to try and turn it into petroleum, by making it 500 or 400 degrees Celsius. So what we are going to do is we're going to have a mechanized door made out of steel, right? Steel can handle that temperature, I believe. Let's go back to that. Clicked on the wrong button here. Okay. I mean, if we look at the doors that we already have made up here, click on steel, look at properties. Okay, the melting point is 2,426.9 degrees Celsius, right? So that's a huge huge benefit here to using the steel for the mechanized airlock. So what we're going to do is take advantage of the vacuum state that we get when the airlock is opened or closed. So we're going to do that over here with a couple of metal tiles that are made out of steel. We'll put those on top, and then once these are set, we're gonna drop the crude oil on top, and that should transfer the heat directly into our kind of mini crude oil boiler is what I want to call it, something like that, because we want to have petroleum, and this is a more efficient way of doing it instead of using the refinement. There's like a petroleum oil refinery, yeah. So this, it turns it 10 kilograms into 5 kilograms of petroleum, so 10 kilograms of crude oil into 5. So if we do it this way, we're not using any power, we're not using any sort of like, we don't have to fine tune it, and this is just to get us to petroleum without having the boiler that we want to make with the volcano up here. So we're gonna test that out to see if that works. I've never done it before. I haven't looked up any way to do this. I'm trying this out for the first time, and that's where we're going to start. In that specific regard, I want to mop this up so we can get as much of that as possible. We need to have a bottle emptier right here, and we'll put the crude oil in that. What else are we going to do? We need these pipes, right? We have pipes going up and over, but what we need to do is go up and over and down and around. So we're going to do that nice and efficiently, not in some weird loops like we have it right now, right? And then we're going to go straight down, over, and straight down, probably to, like, I don't know, right here. Yeah. I'm like I said, we're trying this out for the first time. I've never done it before. Maybe we should not use sandstone though. Let's change that from sandstone to something else when it gets down to the hot stuff. Let's go with insulated pipe, and then let's do igneous rock instead. Go down and over. And then the liquid vent, I am going to make that out of steel. We are in a really hot area, so I don't really think it's a good idea to use the low caliber stuff. So we're going to go up and over, and then I want just a signal switch like so. I can turn it on and off manually, and then once this is all done, yeah, it will turn this to a 9 or an 8. Everything here, an 8, we'll turn that into a 5, so they'll take care of all of that. That is where we're at. They'll complete that while we kind of go over why we have things set up the way we do. So we have our SPOM, which creates oxygen. That's, you know, an efficient way to create oxygen and provide it to the base. There are a few options for that we won't go over right now, but that is what we have up in a colder area. That way it's away from the base, creating all this heat that we are seeing, and it leaves it in a separate area behind a few different walls, right? So that's providing oxygen to our base. And here is the different piping that we have, right? It's going all over the base in different areas. This one's going all the way up to our telescope and directly to the rocket that we haven't used yet. It's going into the somnium synthesizer. We also haven't used that yet. What else do we have? We have a secondary SPOM here that's providing oxygen to all of the different Atmos suits. And I think we were providing oxygen in 2 different ways in most of them, because we needed it in the achievement that we were trying to do. Let's see, what else are we doing here? We can probably cut this off here, and then cut this here, and then, nope, not do that. We want to go back to the pipe and do this. So this is not going to be permanent. We only have it right here temporarily because of the different specific achievements that we were trying to do. We have a cool salt slush geyser up here. The thing we need to do is add another opening up here, and then we are going to close this off. We have plenty of water that we don't need right now, so when we open this up, we're going to put another door, and we are going to add a mechanized door here with some automation. Let's do that. I believe it's going to be just kind of like this. We want that there. And the reason that we have such a big amount of water is, I think in my previous runs, I've always run out of water, and I think it's because I didn't manage things very well. And in this series, we are managing things pretty well, but I think now that we have a good grasp on how we are wanting to do things, we don't really necessarily need to have as much water sitting around because we have vast quantities of it at the moment, right? So this is what we want to see. We're going to do that here. We're going to have another mechanized airlock, probably right next to that as well. So they are going to complete all of that, right? We have our beds kind of in the middle of the base, right? And that's specifically because then they don't have to run very far to go up into this area, or this area, or this area down here, right? That's just kind of the easiest way I have found to consistently give them easy access to the different areas of the base. Okay. We have all of our power, so let's start from the top. Our first thing that we had created for major power production is these different solar panels, and we had to do that for the super sustainable achievement, right? We can't use any sort of natural gas geyser or coal generators or anything but hydrogen, manual generators, and solar panels. Those are like the three things you use the most in order to get super sustainable. And now that we have that, we have a really large backbone, and this is all behind the power transformers, right? So we follow this all the way down here. This is where our power generation is at, and we scroll down even further. Then it follows all the way down. Here's our first set of transformers, and then here's our main set over here on the right side of the base, right? So this is, I'm gonna look at it regularly. There we go. That's how everything looks with a sort of, power spine behind the base. So the next step is going to be moving this power spine over in this section here. We want to separate the heat generation from this region over, and we'll put it over in this section. That way we can control it better, we can keep the base temperate without many issues, and that kind of thing. Another thing that I would like to do is kind of shore up a lot of the extras, get some of the spaghetti out of here. We also need to fix this setup. We'll do that in a little while. Not too concerned about it right now, but it's gonna happen. We'll fix it in a short amount of time. Do need ladders to go back down here and change that all to a 9. Okay. The other thing you need to take into consideration when dealing with stuff that's really hot is locate your obsidian, because obsidian has a really good melting point, just like steel does. So if you make insulated tile directly out of obsidian and you say encase, I'm just going to show it, but I'm not going to make it, right? And you encase this whole thing in obsidian, it's just going to sit there and not do anything in overpressure, right? But we're not going to do that because we want to move all this stuff out of the way first before we open up the volcano that we know is a volcano, because we turn the temperature on and that looks like a volcano, right? So anyways, the other things that we haven't set in place are, we have a metal refinery within a brine section, and we have it like that on purpose so it stays nice and cool. What do we need? We want a mesh tile right here. No, we want one of these first. There we go, and then we'll put a mesh tile right next to that, and then it should allow us to turn on and off the door when we need more water or brine, because this is our cool salt slush geyser, right? So we have a bunch of these paku just hanging out here. I think it has been notated that a paku farm, like starvation farm, is not very viable because of the different changes that were around recently. So I don't think that it is definitely the easiest thing to do to provide a continual amount of food for the duplicants, but we wanted to tame a paku, and this is what we ended up with after we had a long list of things to do with the paku. So over here we have our regular Drecos, and we continue to have a separate regular Dreco farm, and that's specifically for all of the different reed fiber that we get. We get a bunch of that from the regular Drecos, so we don't have to continually farm and have a a hydroponic farm dedicated to reed fiber, right? That's what those give us. And then we have our glossy Drecos that provide us with, let's see, how much do we have? Plastic. We have 60 tons of plastic, everyone. That is a lot. And that's simply because we have all of these Drecos, these glossy Drecos that provide plastic when they shed their scales. So that's why we have all of these in that specific regard. We have our bathroom set up just above all of these guys here. We should probably see about... If we don't have sedimentary rock, then we do need to put some sandstone in here. Let's copy that and put that here. We don't really need to put any specific type in here, like a food, but normally I would rather put igneous rock because it is renewable, but we need to get the volcanoes tamed in order for it to be renewable, right? Because there's like 3 or 4 of them, so we will get to that in a little while. We have slicksters that we're not really paying too much attention to right now. I think that's specifically because it's really difficult. They eat a lot. And when I say they eat a lot, I mean a lot. They eat a lot of carbon dioxide is what I meant to say. So it's very hard to have both a mushroom farm down here and slicksters unless you have a carbon dioxide vent, which we do on the other asteroid, but we have not been on there. We brought everybody over here for the achievement. So now, one of the things we can do, let's look at the blueprints. Apparently we have a bunch to unlock. Hopefully all 3 of them show up. Here's one. What did we get? Oh, a blue glitter Atmos suit. That's awesome. What's our second one? What did we get? Some sunny retro flower pot. All right, I don't think we've had that one either. That is perfect. Okay. So the last 2 things that I want to show, we have a steam turbine setup over here, right? And what we are doing with this steam turbine setup is we have this ice box set up specifically for the deep freezer, right? We have all this food. You can see that right there. It's all in deep freeze mode, right? And that's specifically because all the food that's in this tile, it takes the temperature of whatever it's sitting on. And we have a gold metal tile. We probably should have used steel because it transfers the heat better. but I think it's working nonetheless. So you can see sterile atmosphere because it is in hydrogen. So 3,096 grams, right? And the way that this works, we have a refrigerator set to 3 kilograms. And the reason we have 3 kilograms is in our schedule, every schedule has at least 1 to 3 duplicants, right? So at any given time when they're going to go and eat, there will be 3 kilograms of whatever we have available in here, right? So right now there's barbecue, there's fried mushroom, sometimes there can be souffle, the surf and turf, and all that other good stuff, right? So let's see, is cooked seafood amongst these? It is. So, you know, that's just something we keep track of, making sure that the refrigerator has food that the duplicants can eat, right? So you just need to make sure your consumables are set properly. And when you click on that, you can just see at the top which ones you have available, so on and so forth. So this conveyor loader is set up to pull out, the auto sweeper pulls out any sort of bad food. So if we look at the organic section on the filter here, any polluted dirt, polluted mud, rock piles, anything that can off gas would probably be the best option, but we shouldn't be throwing anything in here besides food. So this is kind of enough. That way nothing off gases in the hydrogen and we don't lose any hydrogen, which we haven't yet, so I think that that has been successful. Let's look at the liquid plumbing here, specifically for the refrigerator. It is a little bit over the top, a little crazy. This is not how it has to be set up. The main goal of this is you need to have the ice box going with radiant pipes, right? And it is made out of radiant gold. Again, steel, cobalt, aluminum would be way better in this instance. We just used what we had available at the time. So it is still working because it is negative 100.8 degrees Celsius in this ice box, turning all the liquid, this whole had liquid in it first, directly into, you know, this ice. So it's keeping this box cold pretty efficiently, right? And if we wanted to do more, if we wanted to cool even more with this, we could put the pipe around this area, but what we decided was to take any carbon dioxide and send it through this pipe, and it'll heat up the carbon dioxide through the radiant pipe and come all the way down here and drop it off to the slickster area. So this is just what we use to keep our food in deep freeze and sterile atmosphere. Again, the deep freeze, if you click on something and you see deep freeze on it, you can see it provides a longer shelf life of the food, right? So and if it's above 4 degrees Celsius, the food spoils much more quickly. And we also have the sterile atmosphere. That's why it's in hydrogen or carbon dioxide work, right? So this is what we put it in to keep the sterile atmosphere, and it lowers the decay rate pretty much so low that we probably will not have decayed food unless it's something like outside of this area. So that's what we have set up for our food, and our conveyor loader is outside of the base, or not base, outside of the Great Hall. Otherwise it would not be considered a Great Hall. Auto sweepers can be in the Great Hall, and we have them set up here so they can pull any food that doesn't get eaten and throws it right back into the conveyor chute in the deep freezer. So that's just why we have it set up in this manner. Auto sweepers can throw through the pneumatic doors. That's why we have it set up like this. If we click on each one, it'll reach this conveyor loader. Same thing for this, it reaches that one, and this one also reaches in that area. So, and then it sends it over. We'll look at the shipping. Sends it over back and down directly into this location, right? That is pretty much why we have our food set up here. This is why we moved everything up in the base. We wanted to try and keep it nice and level and consolidated. The last thing that I want to show that we've created is this setup over here. We had a cool steam vent, right? And the cool steam vent, it is dormant right now for the next 14.6 cycles. There are temp shift plates in a checkered pattern behind it here, and there's also one temp shift plate behind this thermo aqua tuner, and it's continually running to slowly get rid of any extra heat, right? And then we're also set this to automate by looking at the specific temperature. And just anytime you have these setups, the biggest thing to do is look at whatever liquid you are using and make sure whatever the freeze temperature is, the thermosensor is set to turn off at the right temperature, right? So if you're using, we are using polluted water in this case. So polluted water, the time it takes, or the degrees, is negative 20.6, right? So 0 degrees on the thermosensor is what we have it set to, since this can spike in negative temperature because the thermo aqua tuner drops everything by 14 degrees every time something goes through it. So this is the probably most important thing of this setup if you try to create a steam turbine setup for the cool steam vent, right? Anyways, that pretty much is why we have stuff set up the way we do. This provides too much heat, so we needed to tame that heat, not let it dissipate within the vicinity. It's already kind of gone down since we've moved stuff around, and that's just kind of why we've done all of this in that fashion, right? So now that that's done, let's see, where has everybody gone? What have they been up to? It seems they're building all this down here. We don't have a lot of Atmos suits. We only have 4 in this area. It may be beneficial to provide another layer of Atmos suits in this side, but I haven't done that. I mean, we had them here before, but we removed them. So I think we aren't going to change that until we move the power spine over here. We want it down here. So let's see, where are we going to put the rest of that power spine, and how much do we have of everything? Okay, we have a little bit. So we should go 1, 2, 3, and then we are going to put some igneous rock. You know, we don't need igneous rock for in between each one. We only need it for, not igneous rock. We don't need insulated tile until it's above it, right? So we're going to do like 3 rows of large power transformers. Maybe we'll start with 2 because we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have 11. So that would be 3, but I think we can get away with 2. So we will start there, and then same thing here. And then the real question is, will that give us enough room? So if we look at this here, each one of those is going to have their own. So one, we'll have to use quite a bit of the what am I thinking of here? I'm thinking of the bridges, the wire bridges. We're going to need to use a lot of those. So that's fine. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. And this is setting up, this has a lot of hydrogen in it right now. So we could probably move this away and create a like bigger, because this is a mini SPOM, right? That's what we have here, is a mini SPOM sending oxygen directly to all of this. So anyways, let's go back down here. How's this doing? It's doing all right. I think we just change all this to a 9 and then they will complete that. Actually, let's turn all of this to 9. 9, 9, 9. Oh, we need to come back up here. And let's look. What did we do? Okay, so we created this, right? And we can get rid of the bridge that's right here. Liquid bridge. Let's remove the liquid bridge. And then cut that here, cut that here, cut that here. This is why I like this cutting tool, right? You can take each thing, you can go up, over, down, up, over, down, up, over, down, up, and then like that. And look at, you don't need to do anything. All you need to do is remove the bridge. Let's go back to the piping. Yeah, we need to remove the bridge, otherwise this is going to keep going down and up and down and up. But essentially, this is going to transfer all of the heat from the hydrogen. We are going to change how this is going. Let's see. We will need a gas bridge. 1, 2, 3. And then we are going to insulate it going up. And we are going to change the direction of this. Yep. I think that'll work. So if we go over, around, over. So if it stops here instead, we should probably... Let's see, what are we going to do? We're going to change this to... I don't know, do they have access to go in here? They do have access to go in here, but I don't want them to ruin any of that. So... instead, what we'll do is turn off going in here. And then we're going to change this by... They can create the pipe inside of this instead by going into the lower section with the oxygen only, instead of trying to deal with doing it inside of this, so then we don't have to change the snake pattern. Perfect. Okay, and we should turn this into a 9. Let's move all of this material. Duplicants, you're doing a fantastic job. Right, I think we could also do that for a lot of other areas. Pick up all the extras laying around. This is looking great. Alright, let's see, what else are we doing here? We are checking on this area down here. Okay, they haven't really finished it. And that's okay. It will get done. Another thing we need to do is come back up here and we need to make more iron so we can make more steel. Right? So we have this shine bug farm, not for anything in particular except for the eggshell. The eggshell is what turns into lime, and the lime is what we use to make steel. So I don't do anything to these shine bugs. They all just starve, and by the time they starve, they have an egg, and that's all that matters. Okay, let's take a look at some other stuff here. Okay, so see all this water is going down. It's because we're utilizing this water for everything, right? That's both all the way up here to our oxygen generation, to the other oxygen generation over here. And this is how we keep the coolant for the metal refinery down. We have all these radiant pipes inside of the brine, right? Okay. There's that, and then we should probably change this to a priority of 8. We want them to turn that off, right? This is going to get super filled. It's a lot of hydrogen, but it's fine. I am quite okay with this. We need to make a mesh tile. Doesn't really matter what we make it out of, because then we can open the door. We need to turn this off right away, otherwise it's going to open, because it's going to be green right off the bat. Come on. See, green, and then that opens, and then it's going to drop. Well, we want it closed. We don't want this to have too much liquid in it. Let's look, does this have power? I think it does. So let's do this. We'll send a little bit more. Oh, that would be why it's doing that. I was wondering. Never mind. I'm like, why is this not providing every single time? And that would be why, because there was a little bridge right here back into this. So now we should have plenty coming in and out of the refinery. Fix a little issue we didn't know we had. Right? So that's all looking nice and helpful. So let's see. Now, I'm wondering, how are we going to maintain all of this down here? Maybe we have another door open when there's petroleum instead of crude oil, or we just wait until it's all filled. Maybe we just wait until it's all filled. So let's do a hydro sensor. We'll do automation hydro sensor. This needs to be made out of steel because it's super duper hot. So we're going to have metal tiles right here, right? So 1, 2, 3. We'll put it here. And then we want a pump, liquid pump. Oh, we need more steel. Okay. This should be fine for now. We're going to keep that open so it turns into a vacuum. Actually, we'll turn it off for now. Ooh, let's go to our print pod. What did we get today? A Drecklet. Okay, sold. We have too many, so this Drecklet is turning into barbecue. And you also are turning into barbecue. Okay. So one of the other things that we're going to do is we need to look at this power here. Yeah, we are going to need a lot more. So what I want to do next is I'm going to get rid of all these Atmos suits. And that's only because I need the metal to move the heavy watt wire over and down into this section, right? That is the only reason. Unreachable build. Okay. And why is it unreachable? That is a very, very good question. Oh, that would be helpful. There. Now it should be reachable. So they're going to get rid of all this. It's going to give us a bunch of materials back. We need to revamp the Atmos suits anyways. And I think the way that we are going to do that is having its own SPOM provide oxygen to every single Atmos suit area, right? And then we'll put that probably away from the base. So let's get rid of these. Put one of you here, 2. can't do that yet. 1, 2, 3. And we can even test this out to see if we can make use of the heat that this generates, right? We could do something similar to what we have over here with the steam turbine, right? To keep it cold, what we can do is put, use radiant liquid pipes behind this and create a steam turbine setup with just an aqua tuner, and it just cools that loop continually back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. We could totally do that. I think it would be beneficial if we used it into an industrial brick of some kind. So that's kind of the thought process in my head on how we should use that. But let me know what your thoughts are. Should we do that with this, or should we wait until we have more buildings kind of like the glass forge and the rock crusher behind into an area like this? I've never made an industrial brick, so I don't exactly know the best way to create them. I know that they can be very finicky in the setup portion, but I would like to attempt it at some point. Let's see, and then with all that, we can get all of this power back, or all of this wire back. Oh yeah. So this one's going to be completely gone, so we don't even need the 11th one. We need to move the Paku farm too, which I'm not exactly sure where the best place for that is going to be. Because we can't do it here. We could put it over here, we could put it down here. Not sure. We'll have to think about that one. Let's go to the bottom of the base. Let's take a look at how this is progressing. Okay. That's doing pretty well. We're going to put this at a 1 because I want... Well, do I? No, I don't want any of that. Do this at a 9. All this is getting really hot, so... See, now, I wonder... Wow. All of it turned to iron. That is so cool. You could refine metal this way. That is... Alright, so we got 364.8. When this gets melted, not melted, dug up, I want to follow this iron ore and see if it turns directly into... Oh, it should, because it's at 1800... No, 1589. Oh man, the refined carbon. That is so cool. It's so hot, it's refining the carbon for us. Wow, I didn't know it would do that. But that's partially why we want this set up, right? We want this done, like, now, people. Yeah, that's why we want that. Because if we look at that temperature is starting to soar up here. And this crude oil is going up in temperature. This is a good test because this oil is sitting here, right? It's going to go up and up and up in temperature, and then that's going to turn into petroleum. 1-to-1 ratio. That's what we want. Alright, why aren't we capable of doing that, like, right now? Come on. Is it you? Popped eardrums. What do you get popped eardrums for? Okay. Got those. Got the steel. Steel's being delivered all across the board, which is good. Okay. Now who's doing that one? Mechanized airlock. Come on. That's part 2. We can't just leave it alone. Okay, this also needs to be done pretty quick because we want to drop all of that into the reservoir we have here. Interesting. Alright, so we're gonna 2 times that. Or not 2 times, but medium speed it. I say that quite often. Sorry about that. There we go. Turn that to red. Okay, what's going on down here? Are we getting it done? We're not getting it done yet. What is going on? Come on, dupes, you can do it. I believe in you. Okay. We have a lot of food. We have a little bit of stress out of nowhere. Probably the popped eardrums would be my guess. It is probably high pressure down here. Even though they are in an Atmos suit. Come on. Dig it up for me. Yeah, that's right. Dig it up is top priority. Let's go. No, don't go in there. Oh my goodness. That was so close. You know, it's like, let's go to the top of the volcano and be like less than a foot away from lava. You know, that sounds like a great idea. Alright, we're going to watch this iron. The iron ore is getting so hot. And then... what does it need? It needs to get to 1534.9. Well, the carbon turned directly into that. So, now we need steel. 2 bricks. And then I also want 1 obsidian block right there. Because I don't want this heat coming out until we tell it to. And then we need to change this to a 9. We only have insufficient oxygen generation because they were breathing in the yucky lung. Or not yucky lung. The polluted oxygen. So that increases the amount that they need to breathe by a little bit. So if we look... yucky lungs, air consumption plus 30 grams per second. So that's why we don't like polluted oxygen, because they have to breathe more. Okay, we got some lime. I think that... oh, they used all that. Okay. Maybe creating this next to wherever we are making the steel would be a good idea. See now all this is set, and we don't need to do anything to it, right? Automation wire, let's turn that to that. Okay, all this is getting made. Look at, we have our petroleum. That, we have a little bit of petroleum already because it's sitting here. That's awesome. We have our very first bit of petroleum, right? So now when we open this, all the magma comes in now. Okay. Now let's close it. So that should just push it out, right? Okay. Now let's see the temperature. Okay, it's all going really nicely in that room. We're going to create a vacuum here of some kind and crude oil. And then we want to sweep all that up. Sweep all of that up. And then we need to turn this into some sort of vacuum because it's going to get way too hot, right? So, how do we want to do this? We want to... we'll do it like this. And then we will carve our way through. Let's do a plumbing bottle emptier. Put it like that. No. We'll wait till they go down there. How is this? Okay, all this plumbing needs to be turned to a 9. because they're doing everything else besides what we want them to. Alright, let's also take a look up here. Let's look at the plumbing. Okay, all of this is now doing what we want it to. We tidied it up quite a bit, right? It's this ethanol is going into, no, it's coming out of the aqua tuner at negative 5.4 degrees, right? This is set to negative 94 because ethanol, if we looked at it, it has, let's see, we had some lying around somewhere, didn't we? Click on it right here. Negative 114.1 degrees Celsius. So that is the negative, that's the freezing point, right? So that's why our thermosensor is set to negative 94. So, add negative 94 plus negative 14, right? Because that's how much the thermo aqua tuner provides. That's 108. So it would be negative 108 if it was negative 94 degrees. So that does not freeze, right? Not insulated pipe. Ethanol. Right? That means it will not freeze if it goes to 108. So that is why we have it set to that. And then the other crucial point to these setups, you need to have a connection going past the input pipe on the aqua tuner. So when it comes over the bridge through the aqua tuner, if this is turned off, it still loops. You do not want it stopping, right? That is a key element into making this successful. So anyways, that's what we have set. And it seems to be working. Let's look at our temperature in the base. See, it is equalizing. A lot of this is getting nice and chilly, right? All right, so we need to set this up better. We need, first off, we need to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Okay, and we want regular pipe, insulated pipe. We want that going down here, down and over. And then this is going to go down and over, and then this is actually going to go up and into this one. So we're going to cut that here, cut that here. Yep. And then that's going to be how we have it set up. And then the last thing we need to do is put another insulated tile right there. And put that at a 9. Then I think, well, actually we need to wait until that is built, otherwise it will not get completed. Right? Okay. While they build that, let's look down here again. How is it looking? So, again, we made this out of steel, right? And when it's out of steel, let's see, status. No. Material. No. Just steel in general. I think it was like negative, or not negative. It was 2,400 and something. Yeah, 2,426.9 degrees Celsius for that, right? So that is why we made this out of steel. This is also made out of steel. The next step is for them to complete all of these, so the oil becomes petroleum, right? And then at the same time, we want to create a liquid lock for this. And then we will insulate this area so it does not get that hot continually. Well, I don't know why the pip would go down there. Not a very smart pip in my opinion. Melting point is at 1,000 degrees. Yeah, we need to change that material. It's gonna get too hot and then it's gonna get damaged and we don't want that. Okay, so we had some iron made. Let's make some. Oh, we can only do this 9 times. 9 times 20 kilograms is 180. So we need to make more refined carbon, and the only way to do that is refinement and a kiln. So let's put the kiln that we have, we'll put it down here. 1, 2, 3. And we'll change this. Like that. Perfect. Alright, so let's look at the temperature of the base. And it would seem we are definitely getting a temperate vibe all across the base now that we have this kind of setup. Let's change that to a 9 and then change the other one to a 9. For some reason they did not get turned into a 9. These two. Okay, we want to change all of that. We want to get some of our materials back. All of that goodness. Don't need that there anymore. We can wipe some of this up. Too much liquid, huh? Okay. So this is why we have stuff in the way we do. Rotten grub fruit. Yeah, that's fine. We don't really need grub fruit too much. I would like to do other stuff like this critter fluxomatic. I've never used this before. Analyzes creatures to transform base morphs into random variants of their species. So I've never used one of these before, but it might be interesting to see if do we have any, is there any variants of the Sweetle besides the grub? No. Okay. What about, so this might be good for like the Slickster, since we have Slicksters, making a magma Slickster. That might be helpful. Okay, let's see the temperature down here. Temperature's pretty hot. Why is this not made out of steel yet? Let's turn this into a 9. And why is that not done yet? Sandstone. Do we have a lot of sandstone? That's the real question. Sandstone. We have plenty of it. Oh look, the long hair larva. See, they eat... What do they eat? Oh yeah, they eat oxygen. So we could honestly move one of these up here into this room and it would be totally fine. There we go. Turn that into steel because it's going to be way too hot. Way too hot. We can't use water for this either because that's going to get very bad. So we may need to use something like, I don't know, maybe crude oil, because it's not going to get that hot. We have a big insulation in between all this, right? And once this is set, we can kind of forget it. I may have needed to change this up one tile, but we'll see how this goes. Again, this is an experiment. I've never tried this before, but I think it worked since we have petroleum, right? Okay. Hey, our third blueprint came through. Let's see what we got. What do we get? Ooh, some Team Captain sports gloves. All right. So it would seem we are doing really well. Okay, let's get all of this. And we'll turn this into a 9. I don't understand why this is waiting delivery, okay? How about we do this? How about we change this instead of sandstone? Man, these saves are getting beefy. Plumbing, insulated pipe, we'll make it out of igneous rock instead. There we go, and then we're going to change this into, yeah. Tired of waiting for it. Okay, what else are we doing here? Alright, these were completed. Do this, turn that into a 9, and that's made out of igneous rock. Let's look at the hydrogen, which is going up and around and up and then over here. Right? So this should go up and over and around. This is going to bother me if we do not make it all the same. I don't know about everybody else, but that bothers me when that happens. When you make something and then there's that one little speck. So about, see, there's one of them. Now let's turn this into our radiant gas pipe instead of the other one. Oh, we have one of these. I didn't even hear it. A snazzier green suit. Why not? Who gets the snazzier green suit? There we go. Our last duplicate. There we go. Yeah, I think we may have had to move this up a tile, but... Oh, that's what we did wrong. Silly Dom. We've made sour gas down here. And we did not even mean to. I did not mean to make sour gas. This is great. Whoopsie. Well. So, our experiment did not fail here, okay? Our experiment succeeded. But we found something else out. Sour gas. Now, highly heated petroleum, right? So, I did not mean for this to happen, but that is interesting that we have found this out. Okay, all right, yeah, that is pretty crazy. Let's stop the liquid from coming down for now. Because I don't want to have a bunch of sour gas, right? That's too much. So what I needed to do was I needed to build the door on the other side. And the problem now is if I try to get this mechanized airlock, I'm going to lose all that steel. So instead, what we are going to do is this. We're going to put a mechanized door on the other side, and then we're going to put metal tiles on this side, and this is how we are going to create our lock. We're going to move this up one, move you up one, deconstruct you, because we want enough room, right? Yeah, I totally did not mean to make sour gas, but that is really cool. My next issue is, do we know where sour gas lies on the spectrum of weight? Which gas is it like most? Is it higher than hydrogen and higher than oxygen, or is it lower than oxygen? That question remains to be seen, because I've never used sour gas. But I have a feeling if we create our petroleum boiler that we are planning on doing, we may have the same issue that we have here, where we provide too much heat to the petroleum and then that turns it into sour gas, right? I think that's exactly what's going to happen, and that's okay, right? We're not worried about that happening because we can use sour gas into some capacity, right? Okay, so what I have decided is we are going to make this episode a little bit longer than normal. Usually this is about the time that we would wrap it up, but I am having such a great time learning these new things that I want to continue and just provide more and more. So we don't need these anymore. Oh. Uh-oh. We did not mean to do that. That's a whoopsie, huh? Is there any in this one? No, that one's pure ethanol. This one has both. That's a big whoopsie. So what we are going to do is deconstruct this one. We definitely did not mean to send the crude oil in there. That was a whoops. So when you destroy it, it drops it into the bottles, right? So then it's separated for you, and you don't have to worry about separating it with anything else, like the liquid filter, right? Okay, so we're gonna change this to a 9 and fix this right up. Let's see. Let's look at the temperature. Okay, so the temperature, it's not really equalizing, but it is pretty hot still. You know, I'm okay with losing this 400 grams of steel, or kilograms of steel, because this was a learning opportunity, not just for me, but for everybody else that's never experienced this before. We wanted to try something that I wanted to try something I've never tried before, so this has been very beneficial in for a lot of reasons. So, yeah, I want to know, condensation point is negative 161.5 degrees. So if we cooled that down, I wonder, is that what turns into... Let's see, let's click on the sour gas. Let's find out more about this. Okay, so if we cool it down, 1,000 grams gives us liquid methane and sulfur. Now that's a new one for me. I've never done Plastium. Oh man, this is beyond my expectations. I was not anticipating any of this happening. So we need to change this. We need to go like this, and then cut the wire here, and then we want a switch made out of steel to go here. If we make a pump, where is... Let's look here. Where is the automation at? It is on the top left. So that would be right there. We are going to need to change this over and up. And then that's going to need to go down and over. So what we're going to do is cut that here, and then that is going to be for the liquid pump. Let's see, do we have enough steel? I don't think we do. I think we need a little bit more. We need 400 grams. Perfect. Okay, so the sour gas is sitting in between oxygen here, polluted oxygen, and carbon dioxide. So what I want to do is vacuum this out. I'm going to put the vacuum here. Doesn't need to be made out of anything fancy, but what I want to do is vacuum out both we're going to do 1, 2, and then what do we need? We want a reservoir. I'm going to have one right here. Ventilation. So we have insulated pipe. The first one is going to go up and around and over. We may need to change where this one is located. We'll go up over 1. Yeah. Like that instead. That way it stays in the right vicinity So we're going to filter out carbon dioxide. We're going to put it in here. And then we are going to take this next section, and it's going to go up and over and down like that. That's going to go into the next one. This one's going to go down and over and then into this one. That's not going to go anywhere after that. If it's oxygen, then it's just going to send it up in that direction right there. Perfect. So this first one is going to be carbon dioxide. The second one is going to be sour gas. And we are going to power this by... Let's see, where is the power we have? How much is on here? Okay. Okay, we're just going to have our own manual separate generators here with a smart battery. And then we are going to put some automation on these. There we go. And then change all this to a 9. Because I don't want the sour gas breaking anything or getting too high. See, I don't see it going up over here, but when we open this up, or not open this up, but we have it all set, we want it to be perfect, pulling in that sour gas. Because then, if we decide to do anything with the sour gas, or we continue to do this setup right here, then that will allow us to do what we want it to do. Yeah, we need to have more of those right there. That, and then that will create the vacuum. Man, I can't believe I made that mistake. Whoops. But this is partially why I'm enjoying this entire run, because I'm learning so much. You know, I've gotten really far in this game, but I've never experienced sour gas. I've never created a petroleum boiler with a volcano like we plan on doing up here. There's a lot of cool things that it seems really daunting, but if you take your time, it'll be no problem. It will be accomplishable without too much issues. All that sandstone. Okay, they're all getting that done. Good. Big whoopsie on the oil there. Let's cut that pipe right there. Let's bring it back in. Yeah, we'll bring it back into that. Perfect. All that's going. Now we are going to create that liquid lock. What kind of liquid lock are we going to make it out of? I think it's going to be, is it brine? Let's look. What's the... 1,000? No, not radiant liquid pipe. We need 102.8. And what is it down there? Okay, it's temperate in this section, so if we just create a vacuum, then we won't get a heat transfer, right? So yeah, I think brine, or let's look at ethanol too. You know, just not disregard any of our options. Yeah, no, we aren't using ethanol. Ethanol vaporizes really lower than even regular water, so. But this looks good. All right, let's look at the gases. Okay, they're flowing all the way around. So we have hydrogen going in at 12 degrees Celsius, or 12.6, and it's coming out at 3.1 degrees Celsius, right? And we look at the temperature. This is down to 61. No, 63. Before it was at like 70. So I think that this is working better. Wow, I'm so happy that we did this. Okay, let's wipe up all this extras. We don't need that up here. Okay, and the whole goal of this is to help preserve all of the cold biome as long as possible, right? Okay, they're getting this done pretty quickly. It's not yet, but we will have it done soon. Okay, because we don't want this sour gas going up and in between all this. We want this done like now. Partially not done because we don't have a lot of exosuits going in this direction, which that's going to get remedied when we do the exosuit update. Like, we're going to update all of them. Okay. There we go. That should give them plenty of things to do. Yeah, we want this done now. I don't want sour gas going all the way up in here and then having to deal with it elsewhere. But it is heavier than oxygen, so that is good to know. So it won't go as far as up here into the base. Come on. There we go. Yeah, all that's a 5. We need this done more. So let me know what your thoughts are on our experiment. I totally did not anticipate making sour gas because I've never made it before. I didn't realize that that was even a thing. And, you know, as someone that has played for, you know, thousands of hours, I never got to that point where I've needed to use sour gas. So seeing that is extraordinary for me. How about anybody else? Has anybody else come across something like that where they've done a run and they'd be like, oh my gosh, I never got to that point, or anything of that nature? Let me know. We need sour gas. Okay, it is set. It's set. Perfectly fine. Can't reach. There we go. Can they reach those? They can. Good. Toilets. Now, why are the toilets an issue? Everybody should have access to the toilet. There you go. Diagnostics can be muted in the See All panel. I'm not trying to turn it off. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Maybe we need another bathroom. Oh no, we're good now. Okay. There we go. No gas output. Why is there no gas? Oh. Yeah. We want it to be done, but it can't go anywhere. And then how hot is that? That's not bad. Not bad at all. Come on. They're awaiting sandstone. There we go. There's a sandstone. There's a sandstone. There it is. Part 1 done. Oh, we need a bridge. Perfect. They should be able to get that done in a jiffy. There we go. Yeah, alright. There we go, there we go. And almost there? Done. Alright, let's look at this gas. Is it getting filtered? Oh, it's this last part that we're waiting on. Come on, you could do it. Oh, let's do... How about we put it all at, like, that... Oh, man. We should probably change these to an 8 instead. Right, we don't need those all like that. All those are 9s. Good, 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 good. Yeah, we have it sitting at the bottom of this, but when we start pumping it, it'll be just fine. You know what we could do is go every other one of these. Going down and around and drop it. Oh man, isn't that funny? Alright, did we open it up? Okay, we did. We need to make some refined carbon. Let's copy and go. Oh, we have another blueprint. We are going to get muck roots simply because I think it lasts a very long time, so we could use it elsewhere if we need to. There we go. Let's see. Come on. Can we build it? Can we build it? The real question is, why have we not completed this one yet, or these two? I'm gonna guess and say it's... There we go. Perfect. Finish off those, please. Where are you going? There we go. Made. Now all that should be going where we want it to. Perfect. This is good for two reasons. Number one, it gives the slicksters more carbon dioxide, and number two, it gets rid of the sour gas at the bottom of the base right here. Let's change these to a 9. I'm super excited. I hope you guys are enjoying the series as much as I am. It's really cool to see all the fun quirks and things that happen. I've never had a difficult experience learning and playing this game, so you know, not frequently. I think like maybe I misspoke. Maybe at the beginning when I didn't know how to play the game, it was a little difficult because I wasn't entirely sure where everything fit into one, like with itself. Like you don't know, hey, I need all these rooms for morale, and I need all these resources and what each resource does and everything else. I think after I figured out kind of the basics and I've created a foundation is when the game became more and more pleasurable. And I think it gets very daunting until you get to that point. So that's kind of why I wanted to create this series, and I like helping people a lot, especially when it comes to things that I understand, at least the basics and foundations of. One of my favorite things to do is kind of mentor people and provide different feedback to them if they need it, right? And I think that I can do that by providing the series. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know your experiences if you would like to share in the comments below. I would truly appreciate it. You know, the beginnings of how everybody learns is it's all different depending on each person. So, and I'm not the only one that thinks that way either. I know that a lot of the other more experienced and veteran Oxygen not included players, they've played this game probably way more than I have, and they have more experience. But in most situations, they genuinely want to help people. So that's kind of why I think I like watching other people play. I like seeing how they handle everything. Oh, carbon dioxide's down here. Oops. And what is the problem we are going to have? The heat transfer between carbon dioxide is going to make it really warm, but that's fine. That's why I made everything out of steel and whatnot. Okay, iron is at 1500 degrees. We need to make that one out of steel instead. Okay. Perfect. How's this doing up here? Let's take a look. Okay, so the radiant gas pipe is still pretty warm because the hydrogen is going in. I see kind of our issue. Okay. So what I think we could do is change this a smidge. We are going to change this a little bit. We're going to get rid of the bridge. We're going to get rid of the gas valve. And what we're going to do is send all of this gas through, not just a little bit that we have right now. And what's going to happen is all of how it is normally set up is what we're going to have, right? It's going to, there we go. No, don't change any of that. Okay, so now when we look at the gas, the big 1,000 grams of hydrogen is going to go through this instead of just the little itty bitty amounts, right? So this is hopefully going to provide, right, so we have the gas bridge, and this is a priority over the going underneath and down, right? That's why we have the gas bridge here. So we have it going down through this side over here, cooling off. So we have it at -6 in there, and it goes, oh, interesting. Is that because it's warm? No. -2. Okay, the transfer isn't happening enough yet. This needs to get a lot colder for that transfer to continually happen. So that's okay. It's just going to take some time for this water to get colder and colder and colder. Because the water is at 0.2, so that's how much everything is turning into. Is this enough? I hope so. But let's look at the temperature up here. See, this is staying super hot. This is pretty cold. All this is in the negatives. As it goes down here, it's also in the negatives. And it's changing the temperature pretty frequently. So I think in the long term, this is going to work in the way we want it to. We just needed to adjust the hydrogen to be displaced more properly. Because then as it continues to go in the loop, it's going to get colder and so on and so forth, right? So this doesn't stop it. Anyways, that is where we are at. Let's take a look at what do we have going on. How is this down here? Okay, those are going pretty well. We aren't making any more sour gas. We decided to hold off on the petroleum generation down here. Honestly, we probably could turn this off temporarily, get rid of all this, but this was the whole point, right? We wanted to see how it would go, and we are learning. All right, this is what's going to happen. We're going to do this. Yeah, we needed more oomph on the power, so that way all of this can get sent in. Let's look at the gas actually. Yeah, it's working well. Look, it's working really, really well. And our slicksters are still alive, so that's a good thing, right? Okay. So now that does that, let's open it. Oh wait, the bridge needs to be rebuilt. Let's turn that into 9. So as that closes, I believe that gets rid of any material that's in it. So it like deletes whatever is inside of it when it closes like that. When those don't have anywhere to go, right? It's just like earlier in a previous episode, at the bottom of like on one of the water wells we had, there was a little bit of polluted water. We just put a brick on top of the polluted water and it couldn't go left, up, or to the right, so it got deleted, right? Those are just some things that we learn, right? Okay. Well, let's go back up here and take a look at the temperature again. So, actually, let's look at the gas itself. See, it is starting to get into the negatives now that it's cycling, right? It's not idle, and this is how I think we will start to keep everything a lot colder. Yeah, since stuff is not sitting there, we're generating heat all the way around, but overall, eventually this will all get colder and colder as we move along. What was that? Did everybody hear that weird sound? That was a bit crazy, wasn't it? I've never heard that one before. Let's continue. Let's see what we have going on down here. Okay, so now that we opened it and closed this, we created a vacuum because that deleted the carbon dioxide that was inside of it. So now, if we look at the temperature, even though this is super hot, it's not going to transfer the heat from one thing to the next. This one down here is... it has lit magma inside of it, so that's kind of why. Let's close it and see. Alright, so when we close it, nothing happened. Why did nothing happen? Because we have that. That would be why. Okay, so we closed it. Let's open it again and see. See, the magma was gone. Let's close it. And open. And close. So the reason that the magma stays here is it pushes the magma down because it has an area to go in, right? So this is why it's beneficial to understand how this works. So the reason any type of gas inside of this, it gets deleted, it can't go down, it can't go to the right, it can't go left, and it can't go up. So when it has nowhere to go and you put something on top of it, boom, it gets deleted, right? So that's what happens. That's why down here, that doesn't happen. So, just so everybody understands what I'm talking about. I know most people understand that, but it took me a while to kind of figure those things out. I even do mess up at the beginning of the series. You know, we all make mistakes and we learn from them. This is how it is. Everybody understands that. So, okay, this is going really well. Getting rid of all this extra gases. I mean, there isn't a crazy amount of the sour gas, but cooling it and turning it into methane and other stuff, that I am not going to get into for a little while. I just wanted to try and experiment out and to see how it worked down here, and now we know. Okay. Oh my. That's so funny. Alright, let's take a look at these pipes again. See, the liquid pipes are still at negative. Hydrogen is going down to negative 1.1. So it's slowly turning into colder and colder and colder as it moves along. Okay. Right? And then let's look at the temperature out here. See, all this is slowly starting to get more and more temperate and colder. These in here are down to 40 something degrees, which is a lot colder. So this is working in twofold, right? We're cooling the area inside with the oxygen. We're also cooling the oxygen as it goes into here. This may be unnecessary, to be honest. Simply because we're cooling it right here, but it's not a crazy amount. Let's look at the gases itself. They're coming in at 40 degrees and they're coming out at 8. Oh my. Wow, that is working way better than I anticipated. But let's look at the whole base so far. We have a long way to go to cool it all off, right? Okay. Now what do we do here? We have 9. We need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And let's look at the power, make sure they are all necessary. This one is necessary for sure. So we would go up and over. This one is necessary. This one is necessary. Okay. Well, I think, yep, we're just going to have to make these 3 different rows and just continue over. I think the best way would be maybe go down here and close this off. Yeah. So this is what we are going to do. We are going to force them to go over here to get to this section. There we go. This way we don't have to worry about it at all. We should actually just go all the way across. Because we need, what we need to do is add a few more, right? We need like 1, 2... We'll put 5 in each one of these. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Don't get stuck. Please don't get stuck. There we go. Alright, let's check out our blueprint. What do we got? Ooh, wrong button. Slug eggs. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if I want them though. We don't need them right now. I'm gonna just reject them. Actually, no. What I'll do is I will go over here and print it over here. Because they're already in this area, so they can kind of go wherever they want, and we're not doing anything over there right now, so. Perfect. And you are not stuck. That is what we want. And then we don't need this to be 7. We would. There we go. Don't get stuck. We'll wait until this ladder's done. Okay. There we go. Ladder should be done now. There we go. Because we want enough room for 5 total. And again, this is to move this entire heavy watt wire over and around, away from the volcano. We need to move the Pacus down here in some way, shape, or form. So we will also do that probably in the next episode. But let's get started with the power. We've got quite a bit of this one. Let's go down. Let's go over. How far over? All of the way, I think. What just happened? Did I right? I think I right-clicked on accident. Whoops. All right, power. So, how much do we have left? 12. Okay. Now we change to iron. No. How much do we have left? We have 19. Go straight down into here. Okay. We will let them build that first. We need this back. And what is this power going to? Okay, we can get rid of this temporarily. We don't need this one. There we go. Let's clean up some of this area. Including this. It's just going to give us enough, more, or not enough, but more of the... What am I thinking of here? It's going to give us more refined metal. My gosh, why was that so hard to remember? Mine is going so fast. All right, let's go to power. Let's make a heavy watt conductor. We'll make that out of... Can I put that there? No, I cannot. So, we're going to put it here instead. And then we're going to take this and go straight down and over and over. Okay. We are making this out of iron. Okay, that'll give us 9 of them total. Hopefully this looks nicer than it appears it's going to be with all the wires all over the place, but we'll have to wait and see. Let's get some more barbecue up in here. Alright, now that that is set, let's take a look at this temperature again. And look at, this is turning, we are down way lower than, like, this is so much more efficient than I thought it was going to be. Blowing my mind at how much we are learning. But that is it for this one. We went and we did a really long-term episode. I'm super happy with the results on everything that we've had accomplished thus far. Thank you for watching. Please let me know if there's anything you want to see, anything I missed, any comments, suggestions, you name it. Let's put those in the comments below. Please subscribe if you have not done so already. We are well on our way to our first goal of 250 subscribers. We want to grow our community and make it so anybody feels welcome. This is an opportunity to learn from one another. That's all, folks. I hope you enjoyed. Please have a wonderful rest of your day. We'll see you in the future episode. Bye-bye for now.